Exclusive polling for City AM has revealed that a majority of Britons currently have little faith in Rachel Reeves' economic growth strategy, despite her renewed efforts as Chancellor to revive the struggling British economy. According to the latest City AM Freshwater Strategy poll, more than 70% of voters expressed a lack of confidence in her fiscal policies, while approximately 67% doubted her ability to manage the economy effectively. As discontent grows, political insiders suggest that Reeves could face mounting pressure from within her own party, with whispers of a potential dismissal if economic conditions fail to improve. The research was conducted just days after Reeves attempted to relaunch her economic agenda with a series of growth-focused measures, underscoring the widespread concern over the government's economic management and suggesting that her reset had failed to persuade the electorate. Matthew Lesh, the UK country manager for Freshwater Strategy, stated that Reeves had introduced a range of pro-growth initiatives, including the expansion of Heathrow Airport, accelerated infrastructure planning, and regulatory reform in an attempt to change the narrative. However, he noted that these announcements had done little to shift public sentiment. Critics have labelled her efforts as too little, too late, with some Labour MPs reportedly questioning whether she remains the right person for the job. As part of her plans, Reeves had approved a third runway at Heathrow and announced investments worth billions for the Oxford-Cambridge Growth Corridor, which included new housing developments and improved train connections between the two cities. Additionally, she reiterated her commitment to making economic growth the government's top priority. However, her leadership is now under scrutiny as analysts warn that Labour's credibility on economic matters is at risk. One senior political strategist described her inability to reverse economic stagnation as an existential threat to Labour's long-term governance. Since Labour took office, economic growth has stagnated, and both business and consumer confidence have declined, largely due to the £40 billion in tax increases introduced in the budget. The backlash against Reeves' policies has fueled speculation that Labour might seek a cabinet reshuffle, with some party insiders suggesting that replacing her could help salvage voter confidence. Her latest proposals suffered another setback when EY's Item Club, a group of economic forecasters, reduced their GDP growth predictions for 2025 from 1.5%, as estimated in October, to just 1%. EY explained that this downgrade reflected the economic stagnation observed in the second half of 2024. It's a damning indictment of Reeves' tenure, remarked a Conservative MP, adding that her policies had only deepened the crisis rather than solving it. Furthermore, polling by Freshwater indicated that over 50% of voters now expected Reeves and Starmer to break a manifesto promise by increasing income tax during this parliamentary term, with growing fears over the economy. Some members of the opposition have even called for her immediate resignation. More than half of those surveyed also anticipated rises in corporation tax and employer national insurance contributions, while just over 4 in 10 believed VAT would also be increased. Concerns over further tax hikes emerged amid growing expectations that Reeves would fail to adhere to her self-imposed fiscal rules once the Office for Budget Responsibility published its new forecasts in the spring. If she breaks her own fiscal rules, it will be the final nail in the coffin for her credibility, said a senior Conservative figure. At the beginning of the year, a surge in government gilt yields had increased the cost of servicing national debt, which was expected to have almost entirely depleted the Chancellor's £9.9 billion fiscal headroom. The mounting financial pressure has led some economic experts to suggest that Labour may be forced into a radical policy shift to avert further damage. Deutsche Bank had warned investors the previous month to brace for a difficult follow-up to the budget, predicting that Reeves would likely implement at least one more tax increase following the historic tax hikes introduced last year. Reports from Bloomberg suggested that Reeves had also instructed several government departments to prepare for budget freezes as she planned to launch a spending review in June. Departments without protected budgets, such as those overseeing culture, trade, and justice, were reportedly at risk of having their budgets maintained at current levels. However, some analysts have warned that such freezes could trigger further backlash, particularly within public sector unions. A Treasury spokesperson asserted that the government was taking decisive action to accelerate economic growth and improve living standards. They highlighted forecasts from the IMF and OECD predicting that Britain would be the fastest growing major economy in Europe in the coming years. They also noted that a clear majority of UK CEOs anticipated economic growth in the year ahead and pointed out that the UK had been ranked as the second best investment destination globally. Labour's optimism has reportedly faded after a difficult 7 months. Some party insiders now believe that Starmer may have no choice but to sacrifice Reeves to stabilise his government. Exclusive polling for City AM has indicated that if a general election were held today, Labour's majority would be erased as voters have turned against Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves due to their handling of the economy. If she stays in post much longer, Labour risks going into freefall, warned a senior strategist. After securing a landslide victory with a 174-seat majority in July, Labour's vote share has allegedly dropped by 6 points, while the Conservative Party has gained 4 points. According to polling conducted by Freshwater Strategy for City AM, this shift would result in Labour losing approximately 100 seats if an election were held today, reducing their projected total to around 315. Meanwhile, the Conservative Party is estimated to secure roughly 218 seats. Matthew Lesh, the UK country manager for Freshwater Strategy, has stated that Starmer's political honeymoon ended almost immediately and Labour's vote share has declined significantly since last year's general election. He has further estimated that if an election took place today, Labour would likely fall 11 seats short of an outright majority, which would require them to seek support from other parties, including the Liberal Democrats, Greens, the SNP, or various independents. This decline has been interpreted as highlighting the difficulties the government faces while attempting to reset its agenda following a tax-heavy budget in October and ongoing economic stagnation. Reeves' missteps have played a central role in Labour's decline, with some voters now questioning whether the party is capable of managing the economy. Although Reeves and Starmer have prioritised economic growth, economists have reportedly downgraded their GDP growth forecasts in recent months. Concerns have also emerged that a £70 billion annual spending plan, combined with the possibility of US-imposed tariffs, could lead to a resurgence of inflation this year. Polling by Freshwater for City AM has shown that reducing inflation and alleviating the cost of living crisis remain the most pressing issues for voters. However, around 70% of respondents have reportedly expressed the belief that the UK is on the wrong track. With Labour support crumbling and economic dissatisfaction rising, many within Westminster now speculate that Reeves may not last much longer as Chancellor. Some MPs believe that replacing her may be Starmer's only way to salvage his party's electoral chances.